32 signs he doesn't love you anymore or want you either. 1. He ignores you. It's like you don't exist anymore. He completely begins to live a life of his own. Before, anything he or you did was a mutual decision. And now, you don't even know that he's planning on doing anything. When you are around, he gets all weird, and he pretends he's alone. Even if he needs something like, "Did you iron my shirt?" he won't ask you. He'll go and find it, and if it's not ironed, he will do it himself. 2. Lack of communication. One of the biggest signs he doesn't love you anymore is a lack of communication. This is not like ignoring you. This is much more serious and on a deeper level. When he loses interest in you, he will cut you off. He will lose the need to communicate with you in any way. Whether it's body language communication, verbal, or just eye contact, he will break off all of these. Then, it's time for you to realize it's over. There's no point in trying when you can't even talk properly. There is no point in prolonging this already difficult time. 3. He avoids you. Has it happened that somehow you cannot run into each other although you live in the same apartment? That is not a coincidence. He has learned your daily routines and your schedule by now, and he knows when you're coming home. So, he makes sure he is not there when you get home. When a man stops loving you, he will try to avoid you to make you realize he wants out. Spending time together will be something you'll rarely experience. All in all, this is a very bad sign and you should take it seriously. 4. He's not involved in your life. Maybe you used to do things together but not anymore. He suddenly gave up on everything that interests you. He hates your hobbies all of a sudden and he thinks they are irrelevant. If he doesn't respect your interests, that means he thinks you are irrelevant. He ditched your friends, too. When your relationship was a healthy one, he loved spending time with you and your friends. Now, every time you ask him out, either by yourself or with your friends, he rejects you. He is literally breaking all the bonds he has with you. 5. He is rude. He is harsh with his words in private and in public. I mean, he really doesn't choose what he's going to say. It's not even that he doesn't care about you at all. Maybe he's just too big of a coward to admit he doesn't love you anymore. So, he's using his words and rude behavior to let you know he wants out. If you notice he's acting like this and is using some smart comments every time you say or do something, either confront him or take this as a huge red flag and just leave. 6. He humiliates you. Do you sense that he is always finding a way to put you down? Even when you are with friends or family, he tries to humiliate you by cracking jokes at your expense. This humiliating behavior has become kind of his thing lately. He started by saying something offensive once in a while, so okay, you think to yourself that maybe something is bothering him and you let it slide. Sadly, he has been acting like a complete asshole a lot lately. In fact, you can't even remember the last time he treated you with respect. Most people would ignore this kind of behavior due to their denial, especially if he's prone to cracking jokes, but you just know it's something more than a joke, it's personal. 7. He's secretive. See if this scenario rings any bells. He gets ready, takes a peek at his phone and smiles, or someone calls him, and he goes to the other room to answer. Moments later, he's at the door, grabbing the doorknob, leaving you wondering where he's going and with whom. This is not right. If you chose to live together, you have to share everything. You have to be in that relationship full-time. Believe me, this is a big sign he's not into you anymore. If he doesn't feel the need to tell you where he's going just so you won't worry about where he is, then he has really stopped caring about you. The time he spent with you and the feelings he had for you are in the past now. 8. He lies to you. Can it get any worse? There is no need to write anything else about lying. It's as simple as this: if he hides things from you, he doesn't respect you or your relationship, and he is probably finding a way to tell you that. He doesn't want to spend time with you anymore, so he makes excuses every time you call him. Or if he's with you, he'll lie his way out to go and meet someone he actually likes. It's just that he lacks the courage to tell you the truth, so he lies. Eventually, you're going to get fed up with his behavior and you're going to leave. That's what he wanted from the start but didn't have the guts to do it himself. 9. He hides his phone. If he's texting someone and you're sitting right next to him, he'll probably move his phone screen in another direction, so you can't see it. And even if you try to invade his privacy a little and try to get your hands on his phone, it's impossible. He will make sure you never find it because it will be by his side all the time. This is definitely a cheating alert. Who knows, maybe he's even having an affair if he's on the phone all the time, but consider even a long-distance affair. Everything's possible. 10. He's hot and cold. One moment he is all into you, ready to give you the world, and the next, he acts like you don't even exist. This happens because he is not an emotionless machine despite what you think of him. He has some feelings left for you. It's not easy to simply erase someone's existence and involvement in your life up to the moment you decide to walk away. He's probably still struggling with the idea of whether he is going to leave you or not. That's why he's acting hot and cold. But nevertheless, if he acts this way, it's only a matter of time before he's going to leave you. 11. He gets angry easily. He will get angry at the slightest little thing. His tolerance level is dropping more and more each day and his fuse is getting shorter. What was once a great relationship is slowly turning into a horror movie. He will get more and more impatient with you from one day to the next. He will yell at you for no valid reason and he will make a fuss out of nothing. In other words, he's screaming he wants out. Don't let this behavior surprise you and don't think it's happening to you exclusively. 12. There is no "I love you." You stopped being ridiculously cute. But not just that, you stopped saying things and acting as lovers do. He stopped telling you he loves you. Even that is not a big deal because people say that actions speak louder than words, but in your case, actions along with words were gone a long time ago. Among everything else, your sex life is pretty non-existent. 13. He stops making you happy. He stopped doing things for you. All that little cute stuff you liked and which made you feel special, which made you feel his and only his, are gone. He's not even trying anymore. He stopped caring altogether. When this complete indifference enters a relationship, it means that the relationship is on life support. 14. He compares you to other women. He compares you to any woman he sees on the street, saying that you should be more like her, that you should dress like her or change your hairstyle to something different. He also compares you to his ex, and that is the part which hurts the most. Sometimes, during a casual conversation, he will mention her in a positive light, this way giving you hints that you should follow her example. I mean, why the heck does he have to bring his old girlfriend into your relationship in the first place? That is just being cruel. 15. He never apologizes. Even if he is wrong, he will never apologize to you, while on the other hand, when you mess something up and hurt his feelings, he wants an apology ASAP. Otherwise, he will put on a sour face and sulk all day. But when he messes things up, you will never get an apology. He will just act like nothing happened. That's a clear sign that he doesn't respect you because he doesn't care whether your feelings got hurt or not, which leads to the conclusion he probably doesn't love you at all. 16. You are not his priority. He puts you at the bottom of his priorities list. If he has to choose between something he likes and you, he won't choose you. This means he doesn't love you because a man who loves you would always put you first, no matter what. If you needed his help, that man would drop everything immediately to come and rescue you if you wanted him to. Basically, your partner is your best friend and best friends don't treat each other like this. 17. He doesn't talk about the future. He never talks about your future together, which basically means that he doesn't want you in it. Maybe, for now, you are convenient to him and he wants you around for some reason, but that is not going to be long-term. When this happens, you know that the spark that kept your relationship alive is gone. There's no point in forcing it back to life, just let it burn out. 18. He doesn't try anymore. Whether we like it or not, the fact is that most relationships fall in a rut sooner or later. However, this doesn't mean that you and your partner should be taking each other for granted just because you've been together since high school. But this is exactly what your boyfriend's been doing, isn't it? He has become so certain of your love for him that he has stopped putting any effort in toward you. Even though you might think that something like this is normal in every long-term relationship, the truth is that it's a surefire sign your boyfriend's love for you has vanished. It is clear that this guy isn't ready to lift a finger for your sake, and that is not how someone who loves you would ever behave. 19. Everything you do bothers him. When you love someone, you find everything that this person does funny and cute. On the other hand, when you can't stand someone's guts, them just existing, breathing and doing nothing annoys the hell out of you. And this is exactly what's happening with your boyfriend. All the things he used to consider adorable about you have now become sources of irritation. If this is the case, it is pretty clear that he's gotten tired of your relationship. It's possible he doesn't want to accept this as a sign he isn't into you anymore as well, or that he feels guilty about his lack of emotions, but if this man is frustrated by your presence in his life, his emotions for you are long gone. 20. He avoids sex. Yes, you've read it right. It is possible for men to avoid intimacy once they lose feelings for their partner. So if your boyfriend almost never initiates sex or has suddenly stopped trying with you in the bedroom, it is one of the signs he doesn't love you anymore. This lack of physical intimacy we are talking about doesn't involve your sexual life only. The fact is that the two of you don't cuddle, kiss, hug or hold hands anymore. Even when you try spicing things up a little, this man rejects you one way or another, which of course makes you feel unloved and unwanted. 21. He is withdrawn. This phase may be just coincidental, it may have nothing to do with you. Maybe something's bothering him, but he still isn't ready to tell you all about it. But the more probable explanation for his withdrawal is that he isn't interested in having a relationship with you anymore. When a man who was always there for you, sharing everything about himself with you, goes silent and stays silent for quite some time, it's a bad sign. You should examine what is going on and try to talk to him and get him to open up. If that attempt fails, then I'm sorry to say, but you don't have any options left than to assume he doesn't love you anymore. 22. He has stopped texting you. His behavior in general has changed. He is much colder and much more distant. It would be silly to expect that the relationship stays in the honeymoon phase forever, but even after that phase has gone, there should still be some effort left. An example of that effort is texting. If it has become rarer for him to tell you he misses you via text, it's safe to say he's not interested in you anymore. In the beginning, you were always texting each other and not a minute would pass by that you didn't get a text back from him. Now, it's a completely different story. Even if you comfort him about it, he'll make some stupid excuse like he didn't check his phone or he meant to text you back but forgot. A man who loves you can never forget about you. 23. He openly asks for some space. This is a tricky sign because it can go either way. Every relationship can only function properly if both sides respect each other's personal space. Sometimes, a person needs some time alone to gather their thoughts and just be by themselves. But if this justified need becomes overused, then it's a red flag warning you that something is wrong. If your man feels the need to be more alone than usual, either something big is on his mind, or more probably, he wants out but doesn't know how to tell you. 24. He is always criticizing you. Constant criticism can seriously affect a person's self-esteem. It may appear as constructive from the beginning, but if it's constant and a bit cruel, then it's definitely something you wouldn't wish for in a relationship. If your boyfriend keeps finding new ways to make you look inferior in the relationship, it means he doesn't love you. Instead of putting up with him belittling you, you should find a way to break that pattern of abuse. Either talk to him openly and tell him it bothers you because there is a possibility that he doesn't even know what he's doing to you, or leave him. He will leave you sooner or later, anyway. It's better for you to do it first. 25. He doesn't respect your boundaries. Boundaries are the foundation of every healthy relationship, and if you want that relationship to succeed, you have to respect the boundaries your partner sets. For example, if your partner talks about your personal issues outside of the relationship with someone else behind your back, that is clearly a violation of your boundaries. You want to keep things private, just between the two of you, which is a perfectly normal thing to expect from the person you love. 26. He makes you feel like you're not good enough. Nothing you do will ever be enough for him. Usually, this kind of behavior is most often associated with and assigned to people with narcissistic tendencies. Narcissists love to make their victims feel inferior and incapable. They feed off their victims' insecurities. What they do is give you a task and persuade you it will make them happy and satisfied. Naturally, you want them to feel that way because you love them, so you give your best. Once you do what he asked you to do, he will say it's wrong and you could have done it better. You can never satisfy a man like that because a man like that will never give you credit. In other words, he doesn't love you, he uses you for something else. 27. He never gets jealous. There is no such thing as men who never get jealous. They can pretend they are not jealous, but believe me, each and every one of them has that bit of possessiveness over you hiding inside. It's just a matter of how well they are hiding it. Yet again, even if they are hiding their jealousy, you have to notice it if you pay attention to their behavior a bit more closely. So logically, after careful observation, you'll notice if he's not showing any signs of jealousy at all. Well, that is really a bad sign. If your man has no problem with you hanging with guys all the time or going out with your girlfriends without even mentioning where, then you should seriously start thinking about the option which you won't like at all. A guy who loves a woman will always be a bit scared that someone will take her away from him. If he's not, then maybe he wants someone to snatch you from him. 28. He's trying to change you. The first rule in life you have to follow is, stay true to yourself and never change for anyone. If the man you're with can't appreciate you with all of your flaws and your virtues, you don't need him anyway. He fell in love with you for some reason, but how his mind works is he thinks he is perfect and flawless and you have a lot to improve about yourself. So following his logic, you are the one who has to change and adapt to his wishes. He never even considers himself as having something to do with the problems in your relationship. If you ask him, the core of the problem is you. Never let anyone persuade you to be something you're not. 29. He doesn't care when you're upset. You are bound to love a person in both the good and the bad. It's easy to love someone when everything is peachy. But loving someone during problems is what happens to be true love. A man in love will do anything to put a smile on his girl's face. When you are sad and down, when something is bothering you, he won't back down, he will love you even more. If he doesn't do anything when you're feeling blue, he doesn't have any feelings for you. If he's truly in love, he won't be able to look at you and do nothing while you're hurting. Otherwise, the man you're in love with doesn't love you back. 30. He is unhappy. It is normal for any of us to be a bit under the weather from time to time. That bad mood you're in prevents you from enjoying life and appreciating what life has to offer. Now the people around you, especially the people who love you, notice that you're not yourself. Whether or not a person tries to hide their bad mood, their bad energy gives them away. You've noticed that your man is not acting the way he usually acts. Normally, that wouldn't be a problem, but it seems to you that it's not a phase anymore. He's been constantly acting like that for a long time now. When he goes outside, his mood changes a bit for the better, but when he comes back, he gets grumpy once again. I'm sorry to say this, but this is a huge red alert sign that your relationship is coming to an end. 31. He wants to hurt you when you're fighting. If your fights are about who hurts who harder, then you definitely have a problem. It's true, a lot of things people shouldn't say they actually say when they're fighting. The point is, in the end, you resolve everything that was unclear and you make up. Your fights, on the other hand, are a bit different. You scream at each other, you say a lot of hurtful things. During a fight, you think of what to say that will hurt both of you harder. In the end, the problem doesn't get solved. All you do is fight. That is not a good sign for the survival of your relationship. 32. He doesn't flirt with you anymore. No boyfriend will ever stop giving you compliments, even if you're in a long-term relationship. The reason for that is that he will always find you attractive and beautiful because he loves you. A normal boyfriend will stop you and tell you that you look like a princess today. He will use every opportunity to make you feel special and loved. Sadly, a man who doesn't love you anymore won't give you the time of day. He will stop noticing how cute and beautiful you are because you're not working for him anymore. Because he doesn't love you anymore. Slowly, you'll become invisible.